Hi, everybody. This is Joy Lingerie, Matured Musicians, coming to you today with guest David Burch. He has an interesting background in music, and we'll get to that in just a minute. I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Luscious Mouse Studio, owned and operated by Chad Kristen Edgewood, Washington. Well, I can't talk today. Anyway, he does have a very collaborative, creative environment, primarily set up for drummers and guitarists, but he does produce music right at the moment. He's doing some of mine, and he has quite an array of CDs that he's produced so far. So if you have any needs like that, just give him a call. Just look him up on Facebook, Luscious Moss Studio, or Chad Kristen, Edgewood, Washington, and you'll find him. With that being said, hello, David. I'm glad you were able to make this interview and be with us today.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. So, to begin with, I'd like to know your background, and I know so little about you because I haven't seen you at any fairs or festivals. It's been a while since I've gone to any with all this COVID going on.
Yeah, it kind of put a kick in things for a little while there.
It's a little. So,
Well,
how did you get started?
a lot of my friends actually did roll fairly well during COVID. They did a lot of online concerts, so
Yeah.
we did at least have options now.
So, I'm sorry.
So you're talking about my past
Yes.
and history and stuff like
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes, your music. We're waiting to hear it.
I'm fairly old, so yeah, I started back I started learning how to play guitar back in '67.
Wow.
First major gig was in '68. I actually played at my local school sock hop. That was interesting. A psychedelic band at that time, of course, back in the '60s. And that was a lot of fun. And then my dad was in the service, so we moved around quite a bit, so it was kind of hard keeping a band together. And let's see, from there, California. Trying to remember where I ended up from there. Then I was was stationed in Hawaii for a while, and actually played at some of the clubs in Waikiki for a while, a lot of solo stuff on guitar.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this little English pub that really liked me, so it was a lot of fun.
How long ago was that? This is recently or a while back? Or
that was back in '77,
oh my gosh.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a while ago. So
Yeah,
they
okay.
had a pub that booked you?
Say again?
You said there was a pub that booked you?
Yeah, it was actually a little English pub in downtown Waikiki, and
Ah,
it was really fun because it would actually get visitors to Hawaii, actually from the islands. So and the people on the islands, they always are very up for singing along with stuff. So it's fun when the audience sings along with you.
right.
So that was a blast. And then from there, I came back here to Washington, and let's see, what did I do from there? Washington, I got back here in the '80s, and got together with a bunch of guys. And that time we were doing progressive rock.
Oh, yeah.
And had some really nice musicians. I actually still do some work with the keyboard player from that band. He's one of those guys that will go in and listen to the band's song and come home and play their song. Not me, but he can do it.
Cool. So, are you a singer-songwriter as well?
Yeah, me and the keyboard player both wrote and composed songs.
Cool. Yeah. Now that was back in the early '80s, right? Is that
That was in the 80s, yeah.
Can you explain to me the difference between hard rock or rock and roll, rock in the 80s and progressive rock? Excuse me. Sorry about that.
The main difference you'll hear in the two, the rock and hard rock kind of things, usually be mostly chord patterns, not that many intricate melody lines.
Mm-hmm.
You may get some melody along, the fancy lead guitar break, something like that, but not in the actual pieces of the song itself. Whereas a lot of times in the progressive rock things, you'll hear, an intricate melody going on throughout the song.
Okay.
To give you some ideas, if you listen to some of the material from like Yes, okay, they're a good example of a progressive rock band, or King Crimson. It's there's always a lot more melodies and counter melodies and all of that stuff going on.
No, I haven't. I have really never tried to explore this because I just assume progressive rock. The guy that's sponsoring me, Chad Quiz, plays in a band called Heart by Heart, which does music from the Heart band. Yeah. And he's a progressive rocker, and I've heard his music, and I've never really stopped to think about it. But the more I got to thinking, the more I realized I don't know the difference. And I don't know these bands that you're talking about, but that seems pretty clear to me what you just said about melody lines going around in the background in progressive rock. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So is there anything else different between the two?
No, you'll actually in rock and hard rock and stuff like that, you'll actually see that they'll more likely follow a specific theme or pattern. It'll always be like a heavy rock beat kind of thing going on and stuff like that. Rock chords. Whereas if you get into progressive, you can actually move into where they're actually, I've seen bands that they'll actually play, things from Mussorgsky and other classical composers as part of the song. They'll play some jazz pieces interwoven into the song. So they'll actually explore a lot more genres and themes. And be a little more experimental with what they're playing.
Right.
And some people find that harder to listen to because it kind of throws them off a little bit because they're not expecting all these changes, and they're used to more of this, steady beat, verse chorus kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting to know. Now I feel like I know a little bit about the difference. And I'm a country player, so country music licks usually identify the song. So if you hear a particular lick, you know what the song is going to be and what the dance to it's going to be. And so it's a different thing. It's totally different. And I'm not a rocker, so I've got a lot to learn in that department. So in the 80s, there was a lot of bands like, I think Alice in Chains, I don't really know all of them, but that were coming out of the London Bridge studio that were recording in the day. And were you influenced by that, or did you get into that scene since you were...
I enjoyed a lot of the music that came out at that time. I couldn't say that my influences came from that time. Most of my influences are from way earlier. Like I say, when I started, Hendrix was still alive and stuff like that. He was a major influence of mine. King Crimson was a major influence of mine. Interesting tidbit they have about that band is King Crimson will play the songs that other bands can't play. So that proficient on what they're doing.
Amazing.
And I always got into the Residents is another band I really enjoy. In fact, they were just up here at Fremont Abbey just a couple of weeks ago.
Wow.
And they're an interesting band. They played for many years, and nobody knew who was in the band because every time they show up, they have these giant eyeballs on their heads. So you couldn't tell who they were. And they would take songs, even familiar songs like say Elvis Presley, okay, and twist and mangle them so much that you'd be listening for like almost halfway into the song, and then you hear the line "nothing but a hound dog," and you what? I really enjoyed how they twisted and manipulated,
right.
that sort of thing. So that's been my influence is taking standard stuff, and that's what I do with the Twisted Knicker bands. We actually play Renaissance music and festival music and that sort of thing.
What is Renaissance music? I looked at some of the things you said in your bio, and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Renaissance music is music that was mostly written back in the 1600s.
Oh my gosh.
A lot of festival music will be the same sort of musical style, but they'll be written by more modern artists.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing. I have songs that I've played at festivals that fall in that tune. Like some of the festivals we play at, they have things like fairies and stuff running around. I have a whole list of tunes written about fairies that they seem to enjoy.
Oh, cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, I wish I would have heard you before we interviewed, so I had a better idea and a grasp on this music. But you were talking about the 80s, and you were in a progressive rock band. Where did you go from there?
I was in that band for a few years, and then of course that was a time period that white powders got popular, and my lead guitar player just went off on the deep end, and so the keyboard player and me and the drummer split off for a little while and had a little 3-piece thing going. And the same thing, it was a progressive thing, but we actually did tunes that me and he had written, and that was a lot of fun. And we did a few gigs here and there around.
Yeah. So you had progressive rock, and you had a rock influence in your music. And so now you have how many bands, and what kind of genres are they? Can you put them in a genre, or are they?
Yeah. Well, currently I have Elemental Impressions. That's the one I actually go around town and play a lot more than the other band I have. Okay. Elemental Impressions. I like to call it a fae genre because all the songs I do are written about the fairy realms, leprechauns and sirens and banshees and changelings, all that sort of thing. And I've got about 2 hours of material in that. And that's a real fun thing because I can actually meld the music that I'm playing to the lyrics that are written, so I can actually be a lot more freeform with my lyrics and fit the music I'm playing to the lyrics.
Okay, I'm confused.
So some of the songs will have a blues kind of feel. Some of them will have an acoustic feel. Some of them will have a rock feel to them. So it kind of varies. And depending on which song is being played.
So I'm a little bit confused about is this music that comes from that period of time that you're playing, or is this music that you've created to sound like that period of time, or how does that work?
For elemental impressions, I've drawn from many genres, depending on what kind of feel I want the song to be. Some of them have a rock and roll feel, some of them have a blues, some of them have a progressive feel. It depends on the song.
Okay.
So I can't really put a genre name to the band, so I use space since all the songs are about fairies.
And mermaids, sirens, right? Sirens. Yeah, I like the mermaids. So now that's one band, and it's called Elemental Impressions. And then you tell me that there's another band that you do progressive rock with, and that
there's another band I do. Well, actually, that's the only one I do progressive with anymore. Is Elemental Impressions. The other bands I have, of course, are Twisted Knickers. That's the full band.
Oh yeah, that's right, Twisted Knickers. What a name!
Five people in the band currently, and like I say, we play Renaissance tunes, festival tunes, Irish Celtic tunes, that sort of thing. So in fact, we just played a bar recently for St. Patrick's Day, and that was kind of fun.
Oh, great!
St. Patrick's Day is always fun.
Yeah. Did you drink any green beer?
Unfortunately, because of my medical issues, my liver is not happy with me. So and plus I'm a diabetic, so I can't touch alcohol.
Yeah, me too. I get it. Excuse me. So help me understand how you drifted into this. I mean, we were talking about progressive rock and some of the people that were influencing you at the time. And then this Elemental Impressions and Twisted Knickers sound like, a course diversion, or are they this similar? Or
no, they are. Yeah, I agree. They are, completely different genre feels. Like I say, Twisted Knickers is more of the Celtic Renaissance feel.
Right.
But
how did you get there?
The reason I got started in that one, there were some people that they were going to be homeless, so I rented out part of my house to them, and he actually.
Stop, please, David. I'm sorry. You rented out your house to whom? What happened there? I missed it.
There was a couple. They were going to be homeless,
Oh, okay.
Part of my house to them.
Okay.
And he was actually the reason I had known them before is because I had met them playing at some festivals.
Okay.
And so he was a guitar player and had written some material and stuff like that. So, we got together and started doing some stuff. And then somehow we added the two female vocalists. I think he knew them from a previous get together. And then recently we added a bass player. So that makes up the entire band, and that's how I moved into.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Renaissance feel, but I have fun with it. Like I say, I said earlier, I like to kind of mess with things, and I'll take some of the traditional songs and add fun vocal counterpoints and stuff like that are not in the normal versions that you'll hear.
Right.
So we get
play with it.
and we get some really beautiful harmonies from that, and that's one of the reasons I like the band is because the harmonies that come, we actually all five of us sing. So
wow,
really fun harmonies.
So I do have a guest here that's asking a question. He says, "Hi, David. This is Patrick from Dublin Abbey. I don't know if you know. They do a lot of Irish tunes and Irish influence in their music. With a lot of it is original music that they write, and he's quite the poet. But anyway, he's asking what got you into this, and you've just explained that for us. So
Yeah.
yeah, and the harmonies. I was listening last night and at a jam, and the lead player was playing with a bass player who said he only knew 6 songs, but he knew more than he thought he did. And the harmony between these two guys were just spot on. And, I think that's rare, but I also think it's really important to have that element. I think that makes the music too.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons I get a kick out of Twisted Knickers, because we all get along together really well, and we all and like you say, we seem
Right.
to bounce different ideas off each other on things to try for different songs and stuff like that.
Gotcha. So were these, how long have you had these two bands?
Twisted Knickers, I think, oh geez. I don't know if I'm so bad with time. I would say at least 3 years, probably more.
Oh my gosh. What about Elemental Impressions?
Elemental Impressions I've had for a decade now, I guess.
Yeah, okay. That's quite a bit of time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the next question.
There's a third one, the oddball of the bunch.
Okay.
Like I say, that's the one that I play the guitar with, and it's basically I do a lot of experimental and techno and ambient kind of stuff with that, because I can connect that up to a computer and use any variety of sounds that I want. I can be a grand piano, or I could be a monkeys in the forest. It doesn't matter. I just assign them to different keys on the guitar.
Right.
On the guitar.
You said you play a sitar. Can you explain what a sitar is? I think the last thing I posted.
It might be easier to show it to people.
Okay. Oh, great.
Oh.
And you're welcome, Patrick. I saw your comment in there. All right. Let's see if I can get me off of here.
Okay.
David, I'm going to get me off of here so they can see you, but I'll be right here.
So let's get you what?
Oop, oop. Hold on. Try to get rid of me here.
There we go. So you can get an idea of what it looks like. These are all buttons on the fretboard, and then down here there's a bunch of extra pads that you can assign notes for harmonies. It's got a joystick for wah-wah, whammy bar kind of things. Actually has split pedals that you can hook up to it. So there's a lot you can do with it. And you can actually assign different sounds to different strings, and you can actually separate. You can separate it 12th fret and have like guitar on top and bass on the bottom, or actually a full string section on the bottom, whatever you want to assign things to. So you can do quite a bit with it. And there's a little guy in California from Star Labs. That's STARR Labs.com. He has some really fun instruments.
Not only, it really looks complicated to me. I mean, I can barely handle a guitar with something like that. Holy cow.
You definitely have to have a technical bent to play this one, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have 2 new listeners that joined us. One is Donald Malador. He does a lot of filming events. He's now moved away, so quite frankly, I don't know where he is anymore. Donald, maybe you can tell me. And also, we have a country fiddler called Rodney Landert, and he has a band called the Hot Rodsters, and he's listening today. So, hi guys, and I'm glad you joined.
Welcome to all. Yeah.
So my question next is, what were you doing when that god awful COVID hit and everybody canceled festivals and concerts and gigs and
I didn't do a whole lot during the COVID times. Mostly, worked on tunes. Like I say, I wrote most of the fairy tunes at that time. Worked on some tunes to put down for some CDs I'm working on that are taking way too long to finish. You know how that goes. Yeah. Always another track to lay down or something to fix. You're never satisfied with your own songs.
yeah,
And,
life from a musician.
yeah. And in fact, Twisted Knickers is currently putting together a CD, so we've been
All right.
spending a lot of time. I have my own studio here.
Okay.
Yeah, so it makes it nicer.
So do you produce other people's music or just your own?
Usually just my own bands. Yeah.
Okay. I just got a comment from Donald saying that he's in Brunswick, Georgia. So I guess that solves that puzzle. So
I lived in Georgia way back when.
yeah. I've never lived in Georgia, but I understand it can be very beautiful, but also very strange weather from time to time.
Yeah, I remember the weather being very muggy, but I lived next to an old oak forest. I was a kid at the time, so wonderful trees to climb.
Yeah.
There was a swamp there and moccasins and stuff like that. I didn't care.
Oh yeah. Did you ever think when you during COVID, when you were doing these things, that it might not come back?
Oh, the music wouldn't come back? Oh, I wasn't worried about that. If I know history. If you look at any of the past epidemics, they always have they can only last so long.
Yeah.
We have a lot more population now, and we're lucky that enough people paid attention to mask up and stuff like that, and
right.
extra precautions to keep it from spreading. And that did make a difference. But like I say, if you look back in history where they didn't know that much about it,
Right.
yeah, it wiped out whole cities and stuff, and it was the same sort of thing. It was a cold, a flu.
You know what? 1 million seniors died during this COVID. About 1 million people who are older, like me, managed to succumb to it, and that's a lot of people. Yeah, but yeah, finally it's tapered off for now. I understand that you're going to play for us today, but I know your hand hurts, so that's an option that
It's not that bad today. It's just protected because of the scar right here.
okay.
And this is the picking hand, so I don't even get to that portion.
Okay.
So,
All right, so let's hear it. I have no idea what your music sounds like, so he can't use his guitar today. He doesn't have it hooked up since his last gig, but he is going to play for us with a guitar. So I'm going to get out of here. It's all you.
yeah, it's on the 12 string today. So, like I say, I do a lot of songs about prairies and stuff like that. And the first one is one about leprechauns. Soaring through the rainbow, a colorful flight, whispering in the trees, hidden from sight, chilling hand, and buckles on boots. Always barely past need. Take me now, and I'll show you a rainbow. Take me now, and I'll share my heart of gold. A little comes a hole, such a blessing and curse. It won't so easy. It'll melt in your hand. Take me now, I'll show you a rainbow. Take me now, I'll share my heart of gold. Me with the love of the leprechaun. They can take us away, you see. Such a woeful life you're the turn to be. Take me now, I'll show you a rainbow. Take me now, I'll share my heart of gold. Stub toes and stumble, and the bites of fleas, scratches and boils, and sneeze after sneeze. Hiccups for hours, and the sting of bees. Take me now, I'll show you a rainbow. Take me now, I'll share my heart of gold. So please take the high, your heart of gold, and bring back my life from times of old. Oh, it's back to the simple life of me, where rainbows are pretty and gold I'll never see. Catch me now, I'll show you a rainbow. Catch me now, I'll share my heart of gold. Catch me now, I'll show you a rainbow. Catch me now, I'll share my heart of gold.
Amazing. You know what? I've caught you in the screen. Do I get to share that pot of gold? Oh my goodness. I apologize to the people out there listening that have not tried to play on one of these streaming platforms, because it doesn't sound like it does in real life. So we've done the best we can with the equipment we have to work with, and I do thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. But that you sounded and looked like a little bit like a leprechaun, so I thought for sure I was going to get that pot of gold.
If they want to hear me live, I'm actually going to run over to Canyon Guitars over on Pacific Highway.
Uh-huh.
I think it's in the 12600 block, way toward the end of Pacific Highway, or South Tacoma Way, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And, it's at Canyon Guitars. They have an open mic at 6. I was going to go down, have some fun.
All right. So, new way to find him.
you can come down and hear me there
All right.
if I don't kill my voice there, right?
Well, your hand. I was more worried about your hand.
My hand is actually doing fine.
Oh, it looks like it isn't. Anything with a bandage on it gets me worried.
That's the bandage, all the crazy bandage things.
So I do have another person who said, "Hey, y'all, have a great interview," but they're not telling me who they are. So, at any rate, if you're going to make a comment, please let us know who you are so that we can respond to you. And that's the end of my message for that. When you look back over your musical career, David, what would you say was one of the moments, because I think, music is hard. You got to put yourself out there. You got to, you do a lot of different things than other people. And, I know that can be hard sometimes, a little discouraging here and there. But was there a moment in your life where it was a defining moment where you said, oh my gosh, I'm doing the right thing?
For me, it was actually really early on. Like I say, I started out, way back in the 60s, and, I was actually playing gigs within a couple of years of starting to play the guitar, and, once you're up, live and on stage, there's nothing like that. And, I've been, it doesn't matter if it's a small stage of 10 people or, I've been in front of, 1,000 people. It doesn't matter, so
I hear that. I
you
hear
know,
what you're saying. Yes.
if the people are there and they seem to enjoy your music and, you just have a fun time with it.
Well, that sounds like fun tunes. I like that one, so I know it must in person be fun when you're, all mic'd up and the whole thing is going on. So yeah, I get that. And then have you ever had a time when you doubted what you were doing or had a bad time or something that happened or you said, oh my goodness, I hope that doesn't do it again?
No, I've run across problems during gigs and stuff, like, technical things, because I actually, run sound too.
Right.
And sometimes you go and you'll set things up and things will squeal all over the place and there's no reason for it to happen. Things like that. But, at times it's a little frustrating, but, it gets resolved real quickly. And so I have never run across anything that has put a block in my way. And, I've always, like I say, I play music. Like I say, currently I'm playing guitar, but, there's actually, 30 instruments in this house. I play bass, I play cello, I play harp, I play, all sorts of different drums. I play bouzouki. There's just, there's always more.
Yeah.
And that's one enjoyable thing about music. If you're getting bored with something, well, pick something else up. The only thing I haven't been able to play is horns. Yeah.
Well, you're probably not missing a whole lot. So, excuse me, I guess that answers my question. You're a fun kind of guy. You're the kind of child that if they left you in a room with just a few toys, you wouldn't get bored. You'd find something new and interesting to do.
Yeah, I've been that way, since early age. Yeah, my mom would say that all the time. Yeah, you just, it wasn't any good to send me to the room because
you just have a great time.
Yeah.
Oh dear. So, oh my goodness. The question I have is, if you could give advice to people out there, especially to musicians who might be doing different music and recreating the music like you have, what advice would you give them, or just in general? It doesn't matter either way.
Well, with most what I've seen with most musicians is they tend to get, there are times when you're putting music together and it just, you know, seems to take forever. It's like, I have, this part is okay, this part is okay, but the damn chorus just does not work, does not fit, and sometimes it's like, okay, you have two choices at that point. You can just keep beating at it. That never works for me. But I always find it was easier to get away from that and maybe work on another song entirely, or just sit and jam on your instrument. Just don't, at times, don't even think about, don't try to put a song together. Just play. A lot of times doing that, it gives you ideas on, oh wow, this could be a wonderful chord progression for this, or a great melody pattern for something else.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I like having different instruments, because it forces you to play in different styles. You have to change the way your fingers are working, the way you're playing patterns. You can't play a bouzouki the same way you play a guitar. It just doesn't work. A bouzouki is designed more as a drone instrument, where you have one note ringing out and you're playing melody patterns against it. That's why it works so well as a Celtic instrument, because you can have that background drone and playing that fancy jig or whatever against it. It's harder to do on the guitar. You can tune the guitar in certain ways where that works better. Right. But I that's what I found, that if you getting bored, just sit back and don't think about what you're playing, just play. And then come back, because sometimes when you're playing, you can come back, oh yeah, I need this kind of melody for my chorus. Okay, and if you have an idea of the pattern of the chorus, then the words are a whole lot easier to fit in, because you have that structure.
Right. I'm not sure I could. I'm sure I could do that kind of music, because I wouldn't know how to go about putting all those different parts in it. Right now, I'm struggling with my producer on a song, Chad Chris, that I'm producing, that he's producing for me. And that's a problem we're running into, is how to fit the parts together. And he's a pro at it. I'm not. And so I can see how difficult that would be. I think that would be a real challenge, right?
It can be, depending on, sometimes it just, all fits together.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
And sometimes, it's, I have a couple of songs that I'm still, fighting. My main issue in writing music, I find all musicians work differently. But for me, I have to do my lyric and music separately. Okay, it's like I can't sit down and play and make up words.
Yeah.
That style does not work for me. But as you heard, I can write some really fun words and put music to it. And it depends. It's because of the way the pattern the words fall into on the page. It fits into that style. And I guess part of that is because I play a bunch of different styles, so I can fit it to all sorts of different word patterns. And like I say, for like I say, it depends on how you work as a musician. Sometimes it's just, playing and making up words, or, just write. Sometimes you need to do something different. Sometimes it's just writing down some words and then figure out, okay, what goes along with that, and sometimes you need to sing it out, a cappella, just to find how the pattern sounds to you. And a lot of times that'll give you an idea, okay, this is my rhythmic pattern, and I seem to be singing, you know, a C here, an F here, or whatever. That depends on your musical ear and whether you can tell what note you're playing. But, there's ways to figure it out. You can sing and play a note and figure out where you are.
Right. Do you have a 5-year plan, David? Where do you see yourself going from now until 5 years from now? What would you like to put in if you could change something, and how do you see this all playing out?
Unfortunately, my 5-year plan depends on whether I'm alive that long.
Yeah, well, I can relate.
Well, I have, because of medical complications, my liver got injured, so now I have cirrhosis of the liver, which means my liver is dying. Okay, which means I need to be set up for a transplant sometime in the future.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Yeah, and that's a whole pain in itself, and the amount of money you need to afford that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And like I say, I'm a poor musician. We can't afford those fancy procedures, right?
Absolutely. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David.
So it's play as much music as I can, as long as I can. I've been doing most of my life.
Are you going to pass this music on in CDs and recordings so that we have some of that to go back to?
I am working on CDs. Like I say, I do. I have a couple of songs up on Bandcamp at the moment under Elemental Impressions, but they're more demos than full songs. They didn't come out exactly how I wanted.
Yeah.
I might need to take some of them and get them remastered to get it the way I like them.
What kind of program do you use for your recording your music and getting it where you want it?
Currently, I'm using a program called Reaper.
Never heard of that one.
Look it up. It's. I think it's a pretty good contender to things like Pro Tools and stuff like that.
Aha. Okay.
It has a ton of features. Has an excellent programming team. They're coming up with updates, and their price point is like ridiculous compared to the other stuff out there.
Yeah.
Like if you're just a personal musician and want a recording program, it's like $60.
Yeah.
Okay? It's in a musician's price range. Yeah. And they have another price range if you're a recording studio. You can pay more for it.
Right.
But that price is good for a full version of updates. It usually takes a year and a half to get from like version 6 to version 7. So you get and even after that you can continue using your version, as long as you want. It doesn't, just because a new version came out doesn't force you to upgrade.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. I didn't know there was something like that out there, because Pro Tools looks to me not only really, really complicated, but expensive.
Yeah. You have to pretty much be a studio anymore to be able to afford Pro Tools. They used to have a free version that you could get, but now they're on this subscription thing. For people like me, can't afford that.
Right. Most musicians. I don't think it's just you.
And which is sad, actually, because their free version was only like 8 tracks, but I grew up in the time when everything was on 2-inch tape. Okay. And I've worked on systems where 8 tracks was your maximum. I actually worked with an old keyboard player that used to run a big band at one of the clubs downtown Tacoma, and he got interested in doing some stuff, and we redid some stuff on his 8-track recorder. because he had his own 8-track studio at his place.
Yeah, things have changed.
Yeah.
Electronics and streaming platforms are in recording. Obviously, recording programs are getting more and more complicated and more expensive, and yet the results are amazing.
That's one of the reasons I like Reaper. They're
How do you spell that?
Reaper.
Oh, Reaper. Okay.
And you have to look up Reaper DAW, because otherwise you'll get this video game.
Okay, Reaper DAW.
Yeah, and I like it. One of the reasons I like it, if you have a question about it, there's probably a video on YouTube that tells you exactly how to do what you're trying to do.
Yes.
If you want to do, I want a simple lesson on, how to do a simple recording. There's a video on that.
Yes.
Okay. There's videos on the fancier stuff like time stretching and stuff like that to get if like your drum beat is a little bit out of sync, you do some time stretching to get it to sync on time a lot better, and so you can see something and look at it and, go back to it and say, okay, this is what he did. And you try to do it yourself. Oh, wait, that's not working. And you look at your video again. Oh, that's what it was. So it makes it a real easy program to work with because of that.
Reaper
it's the only one I've seen with that many videos to help with different aspects of the program.
Yeah. Earlier when we were talking, you said that you use StreamYard. What do you use StreamYard for? Do you stream from your home?
Oh, StreamYard is it's mainly been used for things like this, where
right.
Like the band or me or somebody has talked to a host somewhere. Okay, I've used other platforms like Stream or things like that. I think another online musical thing I work with quite a few times now is a Musicians Hangout, which it's actually one of the ladies from the Maxwells is one of the hosts for that. They're a real fun band if you ever get a chance to see them.
Whatever they're called? The
Maxwells.
Okay, Maxwells. I'll look for them.
Yeah, it's basically it's his wife and him on guitar, a 2-piece band. And she plays drums, he's playing guitar, and they do a hard rock kind of thing. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Amazing. There's so much talent. It's just tremendous amount of talent in this area. And it's not just one thing. It's many different kinds of genres and music mixes. You're one of them that is very unique.
Yeah. There's quite a few of us out there. Yeah. I enjoy going out to see quite a few of them.
So do you have a website that people can reach and look and find out where your gigs are or whatever?
We do. I do not have one for Elemental Impressions at the moment.
Okay.
All I have for Elemental Impressions is the Bandcamp site. The Twisted Knickers, we're in the final phase of getting the website together for that. So there's not a website up. But we do have we do have a Facebook page, as Twisted Knickers Band, I think is what it is on Facebook. I do have Elemental Impressions on Facebook, so you can watch that, because I'll post on that if I'll be playing somewhere.
Okay. So I know that you're a very busy man, because trying to get this together, it's hard to reach you. You're always busy, but that's the norm. And so the thing I think that I'm interested in is knowing if you can post any of this information, like Twisted Knickers site where we can find that. And any upcoming gigs that you have, is that possible that you could put that on Matured Musicians for us?
Yeah, I'll have to talk to the gal from Twisted Knickers. She keeps track of the dates.
Okay.
I said real early on, I'm horrible with dates.
I get you.
I don't really have any shows currently for Elemental Impressions or Elemental Orgy at the time.
Okay.
It's real hard finding a gig that plays experimental stuff.
Yeah.
There was a group up in Seattle that did some of that before COVID, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them after. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with that. That would be fun to do. Some of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, well, let us know. Let's keep in touch so that our people know that are listening how to find you or whatever. I know Patrick, he does, the Dublin Abbey Band, and I think, there's some boundaries that you two connect at. So, anyway.
Yeah, that actually brings up another thing. I may be working with another band starting in July.
All right.
There's a violin player named Joel over on Orcas Island. I don't remember his last name at the moment. People would know him. He plays in a lot of Celtic bands.
What's his name?
I forget his last name at the moment. Joel.
Okay.
And he actually is. He plays an instrument called a harpeggi. That's HARPEGI, I think. And it's this big box kind of thing that you do finger tapping on, like the tapping on the guitar.
Yeah.
But it's like 30 strings across, and but I've seen them play it. You can actually try to find harpeggi on YouTube and see a demo of it being played. But
does Joe Gamble sound familiar?
Yes, that's quite possible. Yes.
I'm going to put that out here.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who it is. And Rodney said great interview, and I think he might have to leave. But anyway, yeah. What the heck is that thing called again?
Harpeggi.
Harpeggi.
Yeah.
Look, and what's
it's made by somebody on the island. So yeah, we actually have some creative people making instruments in the area too. I've got I've got a stand-up bass sitting behind me made from a guy up in Bainbridge.
Ah, okay. Yeah, it was Rodney Landert from the Hot Roasters that said the name. Apparently he must know him.
Yeah, I figured people would know. Would know him. He's played in a lot of songs. Wonderful musician, but he wants to get together with some stuff with harpeggi and the violin.
Yeah.
Starting in the summer, and he wants a drummer for that. Like I say, I've got 30 drums on available to do things with that. So and like I say, he's such a fun musician.
Okay.
So yeah. I enjoy doing some stuff with him. And then it's just
So what are you saying?
The gig dates don't happen on the same day.
Yeah. Well, let's get some out there so we know, because I want to see you guys. I want to see you in both of the bands, actually. But the Elemental Impressions is the one that I'm kind of gravitating towards.
Yeah.
And you were saying that we have a lot of people in this area that create their own instruments. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever played a dulcimer?
I have played a dulcimer. I actually have a Chinese version of that.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah. And it's got 108 strings. Real tender tune. Okay.
Oh, no, not for me. Well, it's getting to be that time. We only have a couple minutes, David, and it's been a very interesting interview. Thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you. Thank you.
But do you have any parting thoughts before we go our separate ways?
Not a whole lot. I just, support your local musicians. Go out and see the shows.
Absolutely.
Make sure that the venues know that a live band attracts money.
Okay.
So that's the way to do it. Go out and there's so many wonderful bands to see in this area. It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely. Well, again, I thank you for your time, David. And I'm 100% with you on support your local musicians. Go out and listen to bands. And I wish I had more energy to do that, but there's so many out there. I mean, I think it'd take me 5 to 10 years to reach everybody and hear them. So,
Like I do. I just went up and saw a show up in Shoreline. And it was really fun. The Maxwells was one of the bands playing. Kitty Junk was there, and couple other bands. I forget the names at the moment. But one of the fun themes of that show was all the drummers were female.
Oh, wow.
And really, really good drummers too.
Yes.
A wonderful show. And in fact, the final headliner band, that was their last show here, and now they're over playing in Europe.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, David, do take care of your health. I'll be sure to include you in my prayers and hope that everything turns out fine for you. But do keep in touch. Let us know where you're at and what you got coming up, okay?
Okay.
All right. Benny, bye-bye, and thank you again for coming on the show. Bye, everybody. Well, that's it for me. We do have another program next week. I've been so busy, I haven't taken the time to find out who it is, but it is a band. So I will be advertising this in the next week. So please tune in on Facebook, Amateur Musicians, and we will see you a week from today. Have fun. Thank you, everybody, for listening today. Appreciate your support. Bye-bye. Well, come on. This thing is amazing. Bye.